Robert Barnes, an attorney representing several students and families from Covington Christian High School. All right, Mr. Barnes, there's been some really horrible things said about these boys from Covington. Have you issued any warning to these people that have been trafficking and a lot of this slanderous activity on the internet?
Yes, to a wide range of people. So Maggie Haberman was one of the first people who was calling for the kids' expulsion.
The New York Times reporter.
The lead New York Times reporter making false statements about these kids, calling for punitive action against these kids whom she's never met, who are private citizens, based on an event she didn't even witness. It really tells you something about the standard of the New York Times that something like that could happen. But also others. Congresswoman Omar made false statements about these kids. We requested that she retract it or we would sue her. Well, an hour later she did retract it, to her credit. But others have not retracted. So some have. Kathy Griffin has.
Oh, you got
Jake
Kathy
Tapper
Griffin
has,
to retract.
Meghan
That's
McCain
a big
has.
that's a big retraction. She oftentimes does not retract. I see someone, Reza Aslan, this guy's appeared on The Daily Show, on CNN a lot. Here's what he said. He said, honest question, have you ever seen a more punchable face than this kid's? He has not retracted that.
That's correct, and he's going to get sued next week.
Wow.
Similarly, Matthew Dowd, there's been requests that he retract. He's an ABC commentator, pretends to be a Republican commentator. He's made false statements about these kids, refused to retract it, and he did it interspersing it with statements about how we should love each other, consistent with the Christian tradition. If he doesn't retract, he's going to get sued. Michael Rappaport did a crude rap sort of image against these kids. He has refused to retract. He's a famous Hollywood actor that's on a Netflix show about how we should avoid childhood bullying of kids, and here he is bullying kids.
That's ironic.
So several New York Daily News put a false headline out that various kids from the school had appeared in blackface. Totally false. They'd been at a blackout, which is very common throughout the country.
Are you going to go after the New York Daily News for that?
Sued.
Oh, they're going to get sued.
Yeah, the New York Daily News will be
sued. It seems like. Now, from my limited understanding of the law, I did not go to law school. It's a very high bar, the slander and the libel. I mean, you have to show malicious intent and knowingly that something is wrong and defamatory, and it doesn't always work in court. Are you confident that you're going to be able to secure judgments?
Yes, because in this case there's a unique exception. So when there's a defamation and libel of private citizens, particularly minors, then the legal standard goes way down.
Yeah.
So you no longer have to prove actual malice or malevolent intent. All you have to prove is that a false statement was made, or in Kentucky the law is even broader, an unflattering impression given and put a person's reputation in a false light, and otherwise, and just that it be negligent for them to do so. That's why the whole family gave everybody 48 hours to correct all of these statements. If they still refuse to do so, it's clearly negligent for them to keep false statements up.
Now, you know what strikes me as amazing? Remember the Parkland shooter situation where everybody was going after the students, and people immediately said you cannot go after students, you cannot say anything about students, they're minors. Yet you had the entire mainstream media establishment and celebrities descend on these high school students, smearing them, calling them racist, digging into their backgrounds, digging into the school, and no one said anything. Huge double standard. It seems like all minors should be off limits. You've spoken to these kids. I know you're in regular discussion. What are their spirits like? Because I know going forward, I mean, they could have potential problems with college admissions, with their resumes. You know, their online profiles are permanently damaged as a result of this. How are they doing?
It's been brutal. They've described it as complete hell. They've described it as one of the most difficult weeks they've ever lived in their lives. These are kids who they've been told they can't use social media. They're being subject to internal investigations to cover up for the failure of other people to properly identify this in the school authority system. So they've been through one of the most difficult. They went to D.C. to participate in one of our greatest political traditions, expressing their political viewpoint, and instead they get ambushed by lefty agitator, provocateur advocates who then lie about them. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was some of the most institutionally powerful people in the establishment press lied and defamed them, and it could destroy their careers, it could destroy their reputations, it could destroy their futures, and it's made their current life a living hell.
Well, I'm glad there's some accountability, because if there's no accountability, it's going to continue to happen. Robert, thanks very much, and keep us posted on the lawsuits. I mean, if you don't even win, at least you're going to grind them to dust in legal fees. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, the goal is to send a message that they'll remember.
Exactly. Robert, thank you very much.